couldn't be happier and I couldn't be more grateful and proud. And I'm going to stop talking before I cry because I have been getting emotional today. No, wait till it's done. Wait till it's done. Wait till we're done. I took the blazer off, as you can see, because I'm transitioning I am also the founder and I guess artistic director of the Local Lab Co., which is an organization that is focused on collaboration, community, and co-liberation. And one of the ways that I go about doing that is by working with people and meeting as many people as possible and then saying, hey, would you like to work on something together? I would love to work on something together with you. Over the summer, I worked at Camp Red Kite. I did the Camp Red Kite training program. What's the actual name of it?
That's a great question.
It was the...
It's the Red Kite Summer Training Program for Teaching Artists of Color.
Yes! And it was my first time working with children, with Chicago Children's Theater, and also my first time working with kids, or at least that intensely, specifically only with kids that have developmental disabilities across the board. So it was a very big learning experience, and I was like, who knows more about this than me? CCT and Ari, who I would like to present. Ari, please take over.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for that intro, Kevin. Hello, everybody. My name is Aria Hawkins. I am an actor and teaching artist here in the city. And my dear friend Em, whenever you get the moment, I have just a quick little slide about myself. Thank you ever so much. So yes, I am a Chicago-based actor, vocalist, and teaching artist here in the city. I work with a variety of different companies, but Chicago Children's Theater has been my first and foremost here, and especially the Red Kite Project, which I would love to talk to you about in the next slide. Thank you. So, the Red Kite Project. The Red Kite Project has been around since 2006. It is a program that has taken place here at Chicago Children's Theater, and it is a series of unique and innovative programs for youth on the autism spectrum and for their families, as well as students of various, folks who have various developmental disabilities as well, right? So two of the ways in which we are able to share and spread that work is through our Red Kite Drama Time residencies, which take place throughout a variety of Chicago public schools, as well as Camp Red Kite, which Kevin was referring to, that takes place for 3 weeks over the summer and is on site at Chicago Children's Theater. Such a lovely, fabulous time of the year. We go about implementing this work in a variety of different ways, and some of the cornerstones that we really try to make sure are present across the board. I brought some little materials just to give us some visual examples, right?
We'll take a couple volunteers. If anybody would like to run up here real quick and join us and demonstrate.
Yes, indeed. So some things we utilize things like a visual schedule, right? This gives people an opportunity to see what's coming ahead and to feel very comfortable, confident, and prepared. I have some candies in here. Why do I have candy in here?
Because candy's good.
It's delicious. It's some sensory engagement, right? We have all kinds of different things like fidget toys available. We have timers that we use. We have all kinds of different structures that we utilize to really ensure that at the end of the day, what we want is for this programming to be as accessible, as fun, and safe, and joyful as possible for all of our students. And one extra little thing that we like to do at Red Kite is an activity called car wash. And I have a couple of materials here, and some lovely volunteers to come up and demonstrate. Excuse me. So, I will go on ahead and just explain the little blurb that we have for car wash. So car wash, for those of you who don't know, is a multi-sensory activity that we utilize towards the start of our day, just to be able to give people an opportunity to not only experience this sensory engagement, but also to be able to practice consent, right? And being able to give a clear yes or a no. So, this is something that I do, of course, with all of my classes, did it this morning for a residency. So, if you would like to receive the spray, or the sponge, or the dryer, you can show us, actually, Jay, how do you show us this? Beautiful, we have 2 arms out. Can we see everybody show us 2 arms out? Beautiful. And what if you don't want to receive something? Absolutely, we're gonna cross our arms over our chest, and that is a no. So can I see a yes? No. Yes? No. Ready to go? Yes? Beautiful. So I will go ahead and start off with you. So we first begin, oh, thank you for letting me know. Beautiful, yes, okay, lovely. We're gonna have 3 little sprays, 1, 2, and 1 over your head, 3. Beautiful, would you like this one? 1, 2, 3. Yes, and right here we have, especially too, Kevin, what he has right here is one version of our little sponge. It's really helpful for deep pressure, right? So when we are pressing into those arms, again, just waking up those senses. Deep pressure can be very comforting for a lot of people, right? So as we see right here, Kevin is giving that lovely demonstration. And then last but not least, we have a dryer. I didn't have time to make the usual little paper one that we have, but today I have a little scarf. It does have a little bit of scented oil on it, so if it's something that you might be sensitive to, just let me know. Oh, you're tall. Look at you, clean and shiny cars. Can I see a bling bling? Bling bling. Everybody, another bling bling. Bling bling. One more all together. Bling bling. Bling bling. Right? Thank you. So that is just a little taste of some of the things that we work on together at Red Kite. And now I'm going to turn it on over to Kevin to chat just a little bit. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, I would love to introduce another practice that we incorporate in our Red Kite residencies, which is something called a fast free. This is a good way to not only engage those senses, but also have an ease in transitions, right? So we are going to take our hands and we'll pat our laps 3 times and then take a breath. Hands ready? And 1, 2, 3. Deep breath in. And breathe out. And now I will turn it over to Kevin.
Actually, one of the things that you said that I'm really glad you said was about the accessibility portion of this, because that was one of the reasons why I really wanted CCT to have a voice in this festival. I think that one of the most important things is making sure that what we are bringing into spaces is accessible to as many people as possible. And I just really appreciate the work that you all do, so I wanted to shout that out. Next up is myself.
Everybody, we have to clap our hands and believe.
Yes, Henry.
No, you're okay. No, I have a slide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the local app slide. Oh, no, you guys are good. Thank you. Sorry. Please give up all a round of applause. And I just want to give a quick rundown and shout out for local apps. So if anyone wants to collaborate with us in the future and enjoys our collaborative stuff, please let us know. Next one. The Local Lab Co. is an organization that started in about 2021. You've seen Marcel running around. Marcel is my partner in crime and has been for the last year and a half. The Local Lab Co. is a performance art collective that builds community through collaboration, collaboration, and mutual aid, crafting art that responds to the needs of the community. Our goal is to be an artistic home that serves as a catalyst for healing, connection, transformation, and modeling a culture of creativity that empowers individuals and strengthens communities. That is a really fancy way of me saying that I think that doing things together gets us a lot further, and we don't just have to say we're going to create theater, we can create whatever is necessary to respond to what people actually need in the moment. Next. What have we been doing? We have a few events. We have an event called Chats with Snacks. We have an event called Living Room Workshop Series. And we have a culminating event called The Capsule. Chats with Snacks is an invitation to the community. We will choose a topic. So in the past, we did one that was on generational trauma. And the invitation, we will bring people in and be like, hey, can you create a new project or a new piece or something to share in the next 2 weeks that is based on this topic. And there's also an invitation to the audience, almost as an open mic, to share something in the moment if there's something that speaks to their spirit. Living Room Workshop series, and that's why we have the box on the ground, is really the thing that we're highlighting in this moment. Living Room Workshop series is an opportunity for folks to collaborate on, one, collaboration, and two, potential development in a space that doesn't care about if your potential development actually becomes anything else. It's about just showing up. We have the topic. The process goes on the first day. The first half of the day is spent in a circle keeping moment, and that's using restorative justice circles. I really enjoy using it for the process because it gives everybody a chance to have a voice in the conversation, an equal voice. So we have the conversation first, and then we have a physical exploration on the box. I love limitations. I feel like I live a life of limitations. So the box is a way to have an exploration within those limitations. The invitation is if you are outside of the box, you get to witness. And if you step into the box, how would you like to be an exploration? It is Local Lab's version of exploring consent when it comes to physical exploration in the process. So, like I was saying, at the beginning we have the conversation, then the next part we have a physical exploration on the box. We usually invite writers to these sessions. Overnight, whatever they create, they come in the next day to share it with us, and we just share it back. It's about, we had a topic, we explored it as a community, something was generated, we shared it back. Great, we did it. And if you decide that you want to keep working on your project, or we decide that, oh, this is really exciting, maybe we should do more with it, then we can. And if we decide not to, it doesn't matter, because we already did it, and that's great. That is A-okay. Do I have another slide, please?
Yep.
Oh, let's bring pictures. We always have food at Chats with Snacks. That's why there's snacks. So please come if you are in Chicago, the next Chats with Snacks, join us. You will be fed. And then there's some pictures from the Living Room Workshop. You see, we're doing weird body things. And then next up. And then Capsule is going to be one of the things that we really present this year. But it is taking Chats with Snacks and Living Room Workshop and using those to create a performance. And that's also kind of our goal, is that everything is about, instead of saying, oh, this is done, we're going to throw it away, it's about, well, what can we stack? What is still scaffoldable in the creative process based on what is in our hands already. So that is a quick rundown of Capsule and Local Lab. I hope that was very informative. And if you would like to join us down here, please join us for the next part of the workshop. All right, you can turn out. That was a lot of secrets. The rest of that might be dark secrets. So, and I'll keep talking as you're coming down. One of the, as you can see, we started with sensory. That wasn't an accident, that was on purpose. And then I introduced the box. That wasn't an accident, that was on purpose. We are going to be exploring our senses. And we can fill up the box, we don't have to. Go ahead. You can join down here without joining into the box. Being outside of the box is a space of witnessing, and everyone is always welcome to be in the space of witnessing. Like they are heavily invited and heavily suggested to join us in the space of witnessing. And again, stepping into the box and being joining the whatever you do in the box, that is just a matter of personal choice if you want to. Being on the outside the whole time is also allowed. So our big goal for this is really to have a conversations around our senses, around sensory experiences. And part of that conversation is because I think it's something important to be able to take into the communities that we go into work, regardless of what communities we go into work with. And I hope this can serve as a nice sensory reminder, as a nice refresher. Boom, boom. Those are all my P's and Q's. Are there any P's and Q's I'm missing? I don't think so.
Only thing I will add on the piece around sensory integration in general is that, this can also be a really valuable tool for nervous system regulation, right? And how we can go about helping to either console, to bring back to equilibrium when either we are feeling elevated when we're working with young people or when other people in general are feeling elevated, right? So valuable tools on that part as well.
So for this one, I thought like a simple thing that wouldn't require too much from folks individually is body percussion. The thought being also that body percussion is a way that like folks can join in, even if you're like, I don't really have a voice, I don't want to sing, I don't really want to talk. You know, that you can, a little tap like this is okay. And if you start adding up little taps, even if it's just like, I'm just going to step back and forth, if you start adding those little taps, it brings noises into the space. And you can, all of a sudden now you're like, oh my gosh, we created a physical symphony. So we're just going to try that out. If you would like to join in, please just go ahead and step into the box. If you want to walk around, you can. That was cool. That was some cool stuff happening in there. Ooh, artists. All right. I will say that things that coming off from me right off the bat, I'm still feeling like the stinging in my legs from when I was sitting there. And then also just like how there was one point where I just immediately closed my eyes so that I could take in everything that was happening around me. As if closing your eyes all of a sudden makes, I don't know, you know when you're parking your car and you're like, oh yeah, I'm just going to turn the music down. That's going to help me make sure I back in here all the way. The feel of the floor on my hand was kind of nice. I kind of that repetitive beat on there, and the sound that came from it. Were there any other like sensorial reactions that you were having in the moment that stick out? Remember the popping?
Yeah.
That was a fun little difference from all the other noises that was happening. So that was nice to hear that as well. But yeah, opening it up.
I love the you didn't offer it necessarily as an invitation, but it appeared to be an invitation at the end there when you stopped and did this. It was very strong, and it then seemed to invite a different form of participation.
The very end, when you swiped across the floor with your hand, it prompted me to think about what that physical sensation feels like.
It was real cool.
It was kind of like a cleansing of the space, and then your bracelet against the you know, also made it really interesting sound.
Well, you started saying cleansing because I looked up and everybody was out of the box, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm gonna cleanse the space of myself.
I was so curious about what was happening.
That's fair. And I could have just stayed in there even longer. And then, so I think at this moment, let's those comments about the information about sensorial experiences that we wanted to share. Let's go back and see.
And I will say, before we jump into that, did you have something you wanted to
Oh.
add?
I was going to say, while sound is a part of it for me, I also think sensory, feeling-wise, was also part of it, because like there's like the vibration of like not clapping, some of that stuff, and just the like sensation on the body is also part of that experience.
And actually, thank you for saying, because the thing that made like closing my eyes, and like that's what made me close my eyes. I was like, oh, there's so many different vibrations happening. But if my eyes are closed, then I can process it which, and I think this maybe goes back to like what we were talking, when Lizzie was talking about in the class and how some kids are doing the restraint, where it's like, there are sometimes you have to like deal with your senses in that way to be able to moderate, what's the word I'm looking for? Regulate, thank you, to regulate yourself, and that how that may be perceived on the outside, like giving folks a space to be able to regulate how they need to regulate, and not just like cutting them off or chopping them off with you if it's something different than what you might be used to. Yeah.
Something I'm even thinking about right now, just by a show of hands, raise your hand if you had any twinge of like, before you stepped into the box, or even as you were coming down from the stairs. I'll say it loud and proud, right? But like thinking about the fact that, okay, we came into the space with with our own set of just experiences going on internally, and then after the fact, do you all feel like you maintain those same feelings, or do you feel like you were able to settle into the space of it? Do you feel safer or calmer or more comfortable after that exploration?
You can say no.
Yeah, and no answers. Yeah, it's okay. It's like, no, I'm still, feeling elevated or anything. Yeah.
I think I have a curious experience of like being a dancer, and then like there was a moment when like the time signature shifted, and I was like, I need to find the beat. And like feeling more, and then just I was having fun observing what was kind of transcending, so I didn't come back in, but I felt like if we had gone, continued to go, I felt very welcome to come and find that again and like leave it when that felt right too. So that was just an experience like I was having for like having myself of like, I don't know if I'm on the ants or the I'm not gonna do well here, but I think permission to come back and leave it go as I work with that. Yeah.
I think even in there like that, it makes me just flash back to like what it means to give an invitation in the community or in a classroom to be like, you have the space to come in as much as you want, and then when you want to step out, like you're allowed to come back when you're ready. Like, I think the words I have right now is a lot of times I feel like there's a leaning on structure as a way to control, rather than the structure being you have the freedom to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
I really love that we all stepped in and created community. Not just like, oh, we're making the best sense here together. We have agreement.
Yes, everyone just went with it. Isabel?
Yeah, also, one of the things, I thought was interesting, because you took this step out, when you were like, okay, wait, hold on. But, and this was like a very conscious choice on my part to not back out, but I like say nothing when I'm doing that. Okay, cool, how do I act? Alright. And then kind of build it, and I think it's just interesting to see different people's ways of like shifting and dealing with like, okay, some people need to kind of step out for a sec to like, and observe the kind of process. And I think it's, I'm willing to assume everyone is that at different points. Like sometimes you're in a situation where you're like, I need to step back a little bit and process it that way. Or sometimes it's like, I need to be in it and process it that way.
Yeah.
1000%, right? And then ultimately, regardless of what step you needed to take, you were still listening to your body, you were listening to your internal sense of what you knew you needed, and being willing to, you staying in the box gave you the opportunity to say, okay, I'm going to trust that my body will know what to do next, right? And to be able to continue on that. So really beautiful observation there, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see, I think now would be a great time to segue into talking a little bit about our sensory system, right? So, of course we can look up here in the
sit
wheel,
down if you
but
want.
feel free to get comfortable. So, questions for you all. What are some of the senses that we know of from elementary school way back in the day? You can go ahead and shout them out. Yeah, taste. Smell. Yeah, what else? Hearing, yeah. Sight, yeah.
Touch back here.
Touch, yeah, absolutely, right? We get that see, hear, smell, touch, taste, right? We also have some more sensory systems that nobody talks to us about, but you're going to learn about them today if you didn't already know, right? Of course, we can look through this little wheel here. Would we be able to take a peek at the next next slide. And the next one will come up shortly after, right? So there are three other systems. There is proprioception, interoception, and our vestibular sense. So let's take a little peek through those. The first one we'll look at is proprioception, and we can slide right on. Thank you so much. So everybody say proprioception.
Proprioception.
Yeah, so proprioception is the perception or awareness of the position and movement of the body, right? So we can take a look right over here. So that includes like our sense of effort, right? Controlling our limbs, a sense of force or of heaviness, where we're picking something up that really, challenges us in those ways, or determining our body's position in space, right? So sometimes if somebody is struggling with proprioception, maybe they might be more inclined to bump into things, right? Or, struggle in group activities, right? Especially when we're doing a lot of movement work in theater, like, the classic, all right, now move around the space. Make sure that you're not hitting anyone. That can be difficult, right? When that proprioceptive sense is off. So that is proprioception. Can we take a peek at the next two slides? Next is interoception, and we can go right on through. Alrighty, everyone say interoception.
Interoception.
Interoception is the sense that allows you to perceive and understand what's happening inside your body, right? So if proprioception is the external, interoception is that internal, right? So some of the things that are included up here, right? Sensing nausea, or when we're thirsty, when we're feeling pain, when we're hungry, when our skin is itchy, when our muscles are tense, right? All of these very somatic kinds of experiences, right? So if somebody is struggling or somebody is just has a lowered sense within their own interoception, right? It might mean that they may not know right away when they need to use the bathroom, or when they're really hungry, or when they're too hot or too cold, right? These are all the internal senses and the ways that we are able to connect to those things, right? So that is interoception. We have one more sense that we're going to take a little peek at together. If we could see the next two slides. Our vestibular sense is the next one. Beautiful. Everyone say vestibular.
Vestibular.
Good. So the vestibular sense is the sense of balance and motion that comes from the inner ear. So I'm sure 99.9% of you had experienced this when, you're spinning for a long time and you get dizzy and everything is spinning around you, right? That's because that fluid in your inner ear is shaking around, right? So, some things that we can take a look at here. Ooh, that is a little blurrier than I thought it would be. That's okay, right? So our inner ear, right? A sense of movement through space, sense of balance, head, and thank you, yes, is that bench? Balancing? Maintaining.
Body posture.
Thank you, and that's why I should wear my glasses more often. See there? So, yeah, maintaining head and body posture, thank you. And determining direction and speed of movement, right? So again, when it comes to any kinds of movement activities, right? Again, going back to that sense of like, okay, now move around the space. Now quick, change direction again, right? That can be a little bit more challenging when that vestibular sense is off a little bit, right? So, now that we've had a chance to kind of take a look at all of those systems, well, before we move on, are there any questions about these? Feeling good? Feeling funky? Lovely.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you scroll up to the
Interoception?
interoception?
Totally, yeah. Will we be able to look up at the interoception slide?
Can you have sensitivities to some of those and unawareness of others, even though it's the same system, within one individual?
Yes.
Okay, so that could affect somebody.
Right, yeah. Because maybe somebody might have a really good sense of when they're hungry, but not the best sense of when they need to go use the bathroom. And, sometimes that can also, again, bring up certain emotional experiences for people, right? Like every now and then, going through folks' access notes and seeing like, oh, okay, this person might show a lot of frustration, especially if they haven't had a bathroom break in a long time, right? So being able to give those reminders, and those are the things that we can utilize, as the grown-ups in the room, or, really for anyone for that matter, to just be able to be supportive in taking a look and taking stock of some of these different kinds of things and helping people
it wasn't until probably like college that I had a good sense of being able to be like, oh, I'm nauseous. Like no one had ever explained nausea to me. Like my mom had said it before. I had people in my life that had said it, but I never actually understood it until one day I was just like, oh, is this what it means to be nauseous? Oh, anxiety is the other one. Everyone always talks about being anxious, and I would be like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're that anxious? And then there was one day when I was like, okay, and I was like, oh, this is anxiety. This is what it feels like in the body. But like, if you haven't been in spaces or around people that are able to kind of like support you and name those things for you, then you're just kind of walking around the world being like, my body does things and I'm okay with it, like whatever. And that has its own problems, let me tell you.
Woo! Say it again for the people in the back.
That has its own problems, let me tell you.
But yes, so, and that was a great question, Jane. Any other questions, comments, ideas in regards to any of these three senses? Beautiful. Well, I think what would be lovely for us to do right now that we have sort of an overview of all of these systems, do y'all want to do the box again? Only this time, we're going to start to think a little bit about, again, some of these sensory systems that we've talked about, and some of the ways in which you could go about exploring those things while in the box, or even while outside of the box, right? When it comes to your interoception, right? Maybe as you are stomping right here, you can be more aware of where you're carrying tension within certain muscles to be able to do these things, right? Or, as you are clapping your hands or patting your chest, that sensation. And if it brings about pain, well, for starters, you can stop at any time. But, right, being able to take stock of those things, or what it looks like to explore balance in the box, right? What it might look like to explore proprioception, right? How far away we are, or how close we are. Pardon me, not getting too in your space, right? But being able to explore some of those different things based on the context that we've gotten here. How does that sound, folks?
Let's take a fast 3 up.
Let's take a fast 3. Hands ready? And 1, 2, 3. Deep breath in. And breathe out. We can now stand up around the box once again.
We're doing great on time.
Yay! Oh, amazing. Love that.
I felt bad because I felt like we sped through the beginning, but I was like, we're good on time. We're not speeding one. I won't end this exploration as quickly. If there's a moment where there's no one in the box, we'll just let that sit. Because even in that moment, there's things happening internally. And as I already said, our mission and our goal as we jump into the box this time, if you jump into the box, is to check in with our senses, check in with these new senses that have been given to us to see how, if we can identify those, and then we'll have a little chat about it on the outside of the box after. Sound good? Cool. Anyone can start. I started imagining and thinking about like playing in puddles and like the splash of puddles and how like that feels like experience. Especially like as an adult, I don't play in puddles often. Usually if I see water, I'm like, oh no, don't get on my shoes, no. I don't have a raincoat, but it was nice to be able to just be like, oh yeah, splish in the water. And I got a nice back rub. Which, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, like if you, like when you don't realize there's tension in you, and then like someone just randomly goes, it does like a little like shoulder thing, you're like, oh goodness. That's what you think of. Especially just those things like those little reminders that there's tension in your body or there's tension in you and you didn't realize, and then how easy you can be reminded to get out of it if you just allow what is going on around you to like affect you and move you. Please, other people, do you have any things that are sticking out?
By the third day of the festival here, my body, I don't know if it's the internal sense that would be energy, but I'm like, I do not feel like doing anything.
But you were witnessing.
Yeah.
Witnessing also counts as an active activity. Even, and I think of it this way, and this is also why I love this activity and stuff, how it is. Like when you're outside walking around day by day, like even if you don't choose to get involved when you see something happening, by actually looking at it, you are witnessing that it's happening. You give it validity, you give it reality by choosing to look at it. So you were doing something.
I found the periphery assessment was jumping really enjoyable, and I don't do that like ever. So like these months.
It's like waking up your leg muscles, yes. Actually, I think that's that feeling that I had with the splashing my hands as well, where I was like, oh yeah, that does
There's
happen.
something like childlike.
Yes.
I think we're very programmed to just like keep going, keep moving forward, make it all happen, and then don't pay attention to our own needs, because our sensory needs, and so like one gorgeous way to come back to it and try out things that we don't get the opportunity to do in our daily life.
Yeah.
Actually, I will say, like, what you meant by kind of like being more aware of my own needs. I was having anxiety about something, like waiting for something, because I don't like waiting, but I'm also like always too early, so. So I really like boxing something. But I was like, what is my sort of sensory wise, like usually you're like, I need to breathe. But I started like spinning in the hallway, and I looked like a freak. But I was like, I got done spinning, and I went, oh, that's exactly what I
Yeah.
I saw kids like rolling, and I was like, that's what I need to do. So just saying it has helped to process that as like, what do I need?
One of the other things just off, you know, like sometimes just the need or desire to scream. To just get that energy out. But like it's like how many chances, and especially like when we're working in community, when we're working with other folks, how many chances do they have to actually just be like, I'm frustrated and I'm just upset in this moment and I want to be upset. Like a lot of times the energy that comes with being upset or in an uncomfortable place, like we tell people to shut those emotions down, but it's like if you don't process and feel what it's doing inside your body, then it's just going to come out in another way. You know, it's not going to be as healthy.
If you walk under an elevated train track as the train is passing over, you can scream audibly and no one will hear you.
Don't take it!
I self-regulate constantly.
I like that.
I see a hand over there.
I struggle myself a little bit with like the reception. So just like even having the like ability to, like you said, witness what's happening in the box and like imagine moving in the box and like feeling other people's like vibrations and movements and like getting to feel like you're participating without the pressure really was, you know, like a cool sensory experience.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, that's super dope. Anybody else?
Something that I'm thinking about, like some common threads between what people are saying, right? Like I think especially when it comes to these almost childlike impulses that we have, whether it's to jump, to spin, to splash, right? These are also still things that are all innately human, right? And to piggyback off of what Sam was saying, right? These are things that are kind of programmed out of us very early, right? Because they are deemed inappropriate or too much for the adults around us to handle at any given time, right? And through, even something like being able to just scream and to be able to emotionally release and regulate that way, right? And like, again, there are ways in which we can, find substitute behaviors that can benefit us, in the moments or situations that we find ourselves in. But ultimately, it's really important for us to be able to give ourselves the space to just do what our bodies already know how to do, right? And so that's why being able to really take stock of and engage with our own sensory experience is something that's so valuable for anybody of any age, right?
Yeah. And
Black profession.
for free! Back on the block. No, actually, we're at 508. Was there another slide in here that you wanted to read through for us?
Just wanted to see, but we can skip it.
Yeah, we can do it. We're right on the side. But really, that is the basis of the workshop. The goal, again, was to go through the senses, through our sensual experiences, and then to be cognitive about them when we jump back onto the box. And the invitation in this is whatever work that you're going to do, even if it's just personal and it's not into a community, how, as you're working, can you bring back in your senses? How can you ground yourself back inside your body as you're working? Because the work that ends up coming out of us when we are grounded in our bodies and alive in our bodies is completely different than when we were saying, oh God, I have to get this done by Wednesday, or I have to send this email off in the next 5 minutes, or when all of those realities of trying to be an artist and trying to be a creative come in. How can we reconnect back to our bodies and our senses to say, okay, yeah, I have to do that thing, but I can do it in me, in my body. Period, full stop. Thank y'all for jumping in. The box has very minimal instructions on purpose. It's meant to be chaotic, it's meant to be confusing, it's meant to create that moment of like, I don't know if I'm gonna jump in and jump out. But all that is important information, and I hope this helps let you go on to the rest of the day. We have a short closeout that Lisa and Joy are going to do for us. This will be a short little short little talk from Lisa, and then we're going to have a closing meditation. We go into our dinner break, and then when we come back, we have sharing.
All good.
We have a sharing of a new piece from About Face Theater, first off. And then right after that, we have a sharing from Theater Live. For our double-header close-out Monday night. Thank you so much for coming to the Social Change Theater Festival. Please take a seat, and we will close it out before we go eat.
Let me see. Yes, thank you. I'm like, pardon me, please.
Marcel. Someone just dropped their chapstick. This is Marcel.
That's you.
I think this is also Marcel. Yeah, Marcel. Are you guys sitting around?
I'm so here for it. Thank you. Yes, it is.
I have to go to my community thing.
Oh! Do you guys have a show tonight?
No, we're doing our first like run of a community devising thing that we'll be doing once a month. So,
Good news. Have fun. You need a music stand? Mark? Thank you, Nicole. Oh, actually, there's one back here. Oh, let me clear your stage, please. This is a very hilarious way to do an introduction.
You know, it's really okay to have more house lights on because it's an exchange. I want to be able to see people. Yeah, like it was. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. That's perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. When I have the honor, the privilege to present Lisa Wagner-Corrala, the founder and executive director of Still Point Theater.
What I'm going to offer right now it's billed as closing remarks for the festival because we're going to be too exhausted at 9 o'clock to give closing remarks, okay? And so James and I have just about a 10-minute presentation, and then it's going to be followed by the wonderful Nicoya Helm leading a closing meditation. And I've chosen as a framework for these remarks to tell 2 stories and then to offer a song. And I don't really know how they're connected. I'll let you decide that. So the first story I want to tell is about Andy Torres, who was this wonderful soul who worked with Still Point for about 20 years. And James and I, by the way, this is James Cornolo, one of our Still Point facilitators. He's actually been with the company the entire 32 years. So James and I met Andy even before Still Point started in 1993. We were doing a theater workshop at Esperanza Community Services in Westtown. And I'll never forget Andy coming in to the very first class. He was this amazing man. He lived with Down syndrome. And he was an incredible actor and just full of life and enthusiasm for everything that we did, everything that we did. And my favorite memory of Andy is the day that he brought in a black cape and a mask. And he told me, I want to do the Phantom of the Opera. And of course, in our classes, we really want to do all of our scenes based on what the actors want to do. And really, give them a forum to tell their stories. So it was a wonderful coincidence, though, at the time, because I had just toured Europe with one of my one-person shows, and I had been on this train, and I was caught between 2 smoking cars, and I had nowhere to go, and I was trapped there with this really peculiar gentleman. And we were both trapped there for about 3 hours, and he offered his cassette tape. Back then it was a Walkman. And he said, listen to this. And it was Pavarotti, the whole cassette. And the most beautiful song was Nessun Dorma on this tape. And when we finally got to our destination, I gave him back the cassette and the Walkman. He took out the cassette and said, lady, it's for you. And so here Andy walks in with the cape and the mask, and I had this beautiful recording of Nessun Dorma. And so his opus really became the scene that he did with Lorena Rocha, and it was this very beautiful romantic dance that they did. And if anyone in our history would think of Andy, they would think of the Phantom of the Opera. and how he so embodied that. And then later, he really wanted to direct. So he started helping direct some of our shows, and he and I actually started co-teaching classes together. And it was such a joy to teach with Andy. He was amazing, you know? And so then COVID hit. And we really hadn't directly worked with Andy in a while because he was transferred to another day program that was way out by Midway Airport. And so COVID hit, and we started doing online classes with neurodiverse individuals. And so we would meet every Saturday morning, myself and an intern, with Andy on Zoom. And we would do theater games, we would, you know, just embody whatever we could in that space. And again, it was wonderful to be reconnected with him. And we had done a class with him in late June of 2021, and then about a week or so later, his sister contacted me and said, Andy has been hospitalized, and he passed away about a week later. And I was just so blown away by how we'd been separated. But then we were brought back together once again, you know, living out our journeys on the planet. And I just didn't know, I was blown away by such a gift. Blown away by such a gift that we had with Andy. And I want to tell the story of him because one thing that I've learned in this festival and been reminded of, I guess I'd say, is just how important community is in the work for social change. Whether it's with arts or otherwise, how it's essential. And Andy lived that out. And he taught me so much about community and caring for each other. And we have now named an internship in his memory, the Andy Torres internship. And Isabeau Pogue is our Andy Torres intern. So whenever we get a new intern, there's a container, there's a reason to tell the story of Andy's life. And to have him reach back through and remind us once again, you know, how important community is. And now my second story is one that I heard secondhand. That Carl Jung was writing to a Christian woman and, you know, doing a correspondence with her. And this story really stood out to me because I really try, I'll emphasize try, to live a Christian life. It's a focus I have. And Matthew 25 is so important to me, where it says, the divine speaks and says, I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was in prison and you visited me, and I was a stranger and you welcomed me. And Matthew 25 has always been so important to me. But in this exchange that they had, this correspondence, Carl Jung wrote to this woman and said, you know, I really admire you Christians, that when you see somebody thirsty, you see Jesus. When you see somebody who is a stranger, you see Jesus. He says, but what I don't understand is how you don't see that within yourselves, that you are someone that needs to be welcomed, that you are someone that is struggling, that you are someone who is vulnerable. And of course, that vulnerability for me takes place within the spaces of art that we do, you know, like with Andy, and sitting across from someone. But it also takes place, the vulnerability, within our own teams, you know? And as we're working together, I'm looking at some of my colleagues now, you know, that our shared vulnerability deepens our community. And now the song. Anthem by Leonard Cohen.
The birds they sang at the break of day. Start again, I heard them say, don't dwell on what is passed away or what is yet to be. Oh, the wars, they will be fought again. The holy dove, she will be caught again, bought and sold and bought again. The dove is never free. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. You can add up the parts, but you don't have a sum. You can strike up the march, there is no drum. To every heart, love will come, but like a refugee. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in. And now Nicoya will guide our meditation.
Maybe we'll just marinate in that. It's a lot. It's been a lot. Some of you, even if you were just here just for that experience, that little bit, you were here for all 3 days. It can be a lot to sit, hear the stories, take everything in, and think, what do I do with all this? So this meditation is designed to give us all a way to step back just for a minute or two and be like the grass, the trees, the flowers. They don't chase the rain, trying to run after every drop here and there.
just put their roots down and open to the sky. And whatever falls on this blade, this flower, this tree is meant for me. And whatever falls out there is meant for you and you and you. And so that's all this meditation is time to just receive whatever is meant for you. It's going to involve some movement. Do that at whatever ability, whatever your body allows, and then it'll move into just a little bit of stillness where you can just take all that thinking and it can just be there just like the clouds in the sky. You just tap in to the rest of it, the fullness of who you are. So to begin, we'll just breathe in and let that air lift the arms up to the sky, taking in whatever is yours to take in, exhaling that down and feeling it filter in to the core of your being, all the way down into the earth, which is also part of you and you are part of it. We'll do this several more times at your own pace, your own breath. And inviting in all of your senses. This is an imaginal experience. Maybe you see it, you hear it, you feel it, you taste it, filling your soul. You unfurl your leaves to receive the sun and the rain, and reach your roots down into earth. Whenever it feels comfortable to you, just letting that last out breath take you even further into the quiet, still point that is always there. Behind the images, the sounds, the feelings, there is a space as vast as the sky. There is a solidity as deep as the earth. There is a warmth and nourishment as bright as the sun. And there is a flow, a never-ending flow as vast as the ocean. And all you have to do is let go. Get in the habit, gripping back on to the future, to the past. 10,000 times is not too many times to remember to let go into now. Let the quiet behind the sound hold you. Let the space behind the solidity soften. This space, this quiet, this still point is always there. Just as the thought and the flow and the energy, all the tangly aliveness is there, swirling and dancing, always with the silence, the vastness, the calm of the still point. So as we begin to transition out of this formal meditation, you don't need to let go of this contact. It's always with you. Whenever you're ready, if your eyes are closed, you can start to blink them open. Take a look, reorient to the outside, remembering the connection to the inside. Give yourself a little smile. Imagine that smile goes out to everyone else. And in my personal practice, which is very much influenced by Buddhism, it's very traditional, that whenever we have practiced in some way, there is this intention that it's not just for me, but it's for everyone. Because if I am liberated, but others are still suffering, then none of us is truly free. I am not free until you are free with me. So I want to offer this dedication. Just take it in whatever way resonates with you. May whatever benefit has come from this festival, from this time together, from this practice of community and connection, may it swiftly bring all beings to the realization of their innate goodness. And through that blessing, may all beings, without one exception, be liberated. Thank you for being here. We still have more to come. I'm going to turn it back over to Kevin to give us a little preview of the rest of the evening, and really thank you.
Thank you. If you enjoyed that meditation or any of the other meditations that happened, on Thursdays at 8:30 on Zoom, Nicoya leads a meditation that we do on a weekly basis, unless it's like a holiday or something, or someone's traveling. So if you would like to be a part of that or involved, please sign up on our mailing list outside at your email on there. And also, if you just want to ask, we can get you the information as well. But
Or they can email me through the website, the email on the website, yeah.
wonderful. Or you can email Lisa directly through the email on the website. We'd love to see some new faces join us for those 8:30 meditations as well. It's a great way to start your Thursday if you're not already out at that point. We're going to take a short break until 6:30. And at 6:30, we will have a sharing from About Face. And at 7:45, we'll have a sharing from Theater Y. And that will close out our Social Change Theater Festival doubleheader Monday night. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your energy. And see you guys in a bit if you're sticking around. Thank you.